So you're being taught how to grow on YouTube by people who've never actually grown anything themselves. And I don't mean that as a shocking blanket statement to get views and clicks and be sensational. I can show you exactly how this is happening right now across this entire space, and something you need to pay attention to. So when I started this channel, the one that you're watching right now, I came into the YouTube advice space with fresh eyes. And I say that because I had already built my main channel to well over 300,000 subscribers. I'd already generated close to $4 million in revenue using YouTube to feed real businesses. So I wasn't looking for advice, right? I came in paying attention to what other people in the space were saying, what they were putting out. And what I found was kind of fascinating. So there's a creator in this space who commented on a few of my early on videos here on this channel. And it was just nice, right? It was, oh, this channel's about to blow up. You're the real deal. I like your stuff. And I thought it was just him being very supportive. I even responded. I think I even subscribed to his channel. Then a few months later, one of his videos pop up in my suggested feed. So I'm like, oh, let me check out what this guy's doing. I click on it. And within 30 seconds, I start hearing my own ideas, my own structure, my own framing, my own unique scripting style. And it's reworded just enough so that somebody who doesn't know any better will think it's an original video, an original idea. But that part didn't bother me. Kind of told me I was onto something right? So what bothered me is that I went to his channel to see what he built before he started teaching YouTube growth. And there was nothing there. There was no channel, there was no business, just video after video telling people how to grow. So I started looking around, and this guy wasn't the exception, he's the rule. This is so common. When you take a second to think about it, it's kind of crazy. We have people that built a gaming channel 8 to 10 years ago that are now YouTube strategists. We have people that used to have a semi-successful travel vlog, but none of their content is optimized the way that they're now telling you to optimize yours. You have creators who blew up with YouTube Shorts in 2022 when YouTube was handing out views for free. These people's channels peaked. It was hard, flatlined, stopped paying their bills, stopped getting sponsorships. So they pivoted to easy money. They pivoted to low-hanging fruit. They pivoted to teaching. Then you've got the ones that have never built anything at all. They just watch other creators, take notes, launch a channel about YouTube growth, and start copying. They find something that worked. And now they don't even have to copy. They just grab a transcript from a video that's an outlier, and then they paste it into ChatGPT and say, rewrite this in my voice. And 45 minutes later, they're on camera presenting somebody else's experience as their own. Now, before I go any further, I need to be clear on something before you guys think I'm just riding in on my high horse here. There's nothing at all wrong with being inspired by other creators. I love that. That's how creativity works. That's how we're inspired. That's how we expand our imagination. And there are legitimately great channels in the space. You got Patty Galloway, you have Ed Lawrence, you have Matt Koval, you have channels like Rob the Maritimer who bring a super fresh perspective. They have this curiosity that's in their content. So as they learn and they grow in public, they're sharing that with their audience. Shout out to all those channels and probably a half a dozen more. So I'm not lumping everybody together here. But if you don't bring your own perspective, your own lived experience into what you're teaching, there's a 0% chance that you're bringing anything unique to an audience. You have nothing unique to offer if you've never actually done it yourself. The only way to have an original perspective is to have actually done it yourself and have the lived experience. It's like a crazy concept, right? But it's so straightforward. And right now, that's creating two problems. One is on the creator side and the other is on the viewer side, and nobody seems to want to talk about that one. All right, so everybody always wants to point their fingers at the fake gurus, but nobody wants to talk about what those fake gurus did to your brain. Think about your last 30 days here on YouTube. You've probably watched growth content from 5, maybe 10 different creators. And I'd bet money that half of them disagree with the other half on something fundamental. One person says, you need to post every day. The other person says quantity over quality. Someone's telling you that you need to focus on YouTube Shorts. That's the way to blow up a channel fast and monetize. Somebody else is telling you that Shorts are destroying your channel. Here's the problem. Every single one of them sounded confident. They had good lighting. They had clean audio. Overall, their videos were edited pretty well. They looked like they knew what they were talking about. So who's right? Honest answer here. You have no way of knowing. And that's where the real damage is. You've been flooded with so much conflicting information from so many different people who all look equally credible that you've lost the ability to trust any of them, including the stuff that's actually true. Now, if you've ever felt like that, I know I sure have, where you just don't know who to listen to. You don't know who to believe. Just seems like everything is just noise and you're just tired of it. I want you to hit the like button right now because I think there's way more people, especially watching this video, that feel that way than are willing to admit. And that's where it starts to snowball because now you're stuck. And what you do next when you're stuck is the thing that's actually keeping you stuck. You probably don't even realize you're doing it. So real quick, I need you guys to think about something. How many YouTube growth videos have you consumed over the last 30 days? And out of those videos, how many of them actually made you change the way you did something the next time you sat down to make a video? Not how many made you feel like you were learning something. How many changed your behavior? Because what's actually happening is this. Every time you click on one of these videos, your brain gets a little hit of dopamine that says, I'm learning, I'm making progress. But you're not making progress. You're consuming. And consuming feels identical to learning until you sit down to shoot your next video and you realize you're more confused than when you started. Now, I've talked to hundreds, if not thousands of creators at this point in my career. In the comments, in the DMs, emails, in person at events. People reach out to me after following somebody else's strategy for months with no traction. And the pattern is always the same, always. They've watched everything. They took all the notes and their channel didn't move, not even an inch. Because watching is not doing. Your mouth doesn't move you in the direction that you want to go. Your hands do. And here's the part that might sting a little bit. That loop that you're stuck in, it's not an accident. It's a business model. Every time you click, somebody gets a view. Every time you come back to a video, somebody gets a little bit more watch time. Every time that you feel like you're almost ready, but not quite there, somebody else gets another shot of funneling you into their community or course. And look, there's absolutely nothing wrong with selling a course, buying a course. There's nothing wrong with offering paid coaching or paying for paid coaching. There's nothing wrong with a paid community. That's how real educators, real businesses operate. And I get that. I have a paid course. I work with very few people and I turn more people away than I accept. But that's not the point here. The issue is when the person selling you that course has never really built anything outside of selling courses. It's like coaches coaching coaches how to coach coaches to coach coaches. It's this weird mind-melting loop. When the course is their entire business, they're not going to help you. They're only helping themselves. Not a byproduct of real success, just a way to make money. It's like somebody who's never run a mile in their life coaching you how to run a marathon. Not because they've actually done it, but because they watched a bunch of videos of people who've actually run. No, it's ridiculous. This is what the space has become. But here's what breaks that loop. And it's something that I've never heard anyone in this space explain well, probably because they don't understand it themselves. If information was all you needed, you wouldn't need YouTube. You wouldn't need this video at all. Maybe some entertainment videos, I'll give you that. But you could just open ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Grok, whatever one is the flavor of the day today, and you could type in, how do I grow a YouTube channel? And in 10 seconds, you're going to have a perfectly organized step-by-step breakdown. The information is free. The information is everywhere. There's zero shortage of information in 2026 and beyond. And yet, your channel isn't where you want it to be. So clearly the information isn't the thing that you're missing. What you're actually missing, and this took me years to figure out on my own, even with all of my experience, is that information and knowledge are not the same thing at all. Information is what to do. Knowledge is what it feels like to do it. The second part only comes from one place. You have any guesses? Lived experience, doing the thing, failing at the thing, sitting in that failure and figuring out why it happened. And by the way, this is why some of you leave comments saying, all of you guys say the same thing. And yeah, on the surface, a lot of it does sound similar because there are foundational principles that are always going to be true regardless of who's teaching them. And I acknowledge that. It's like watching fitness videos and complaining that everybody keeps telling me to eat healthier and move more. Yeah, because that's how it works. The fundamentals don't change just because you're tired of hearing them. So the difference isn't what someone's teaching. It's how deep they can take you into the why it works, explain clearly when it doesn't. And that depth only really comes from having actually done it. Crazy concept, I know. It's the gap between information and knowledge. A copycat can tell you the same words, sure, but they can't take you any deeper than surface level because the surface level is all that they've got. Now, if you do want to go a little bit deeper, by the way, I put everything that you guys need into my ultimate YouTube growth guide, which is a perfect companion for all of my videos here on this channel. Over 5,000 people have downloaded this thing in the last 60 days alone, and I have received 0 complaints. So let's keep that going. Now, if you want to take your channel to the next level, I'll put a link in the description box below. Download it. Please do something with it and enjoy. Now, here's an example of the depth that I'm talking about here. Let's say that somebody tells you to make better thumbnails. That's information. Everybody says that. I think it's in almost every YouTube growth video ever made in the world, right? Now, compare that to somebody telling you that, I had a video that was sitting at 3,000 views for 3 days. It flatlined, and I changed the thumbnail on day 4. I swapped the background color. I tightened up the crop on my face. I added 2 words instead of the 6 that I had, and my CTR went from 2.8% to 7.6%. And that video ended up hitting 50,000 views. That's knowledge. That's somebody who's been in it, came back with something specific to share with you. That's the whole point of this. That's why some of the videos that you watch, you feel smarter afterwards, genuinely. In other videos you watch 10 or 30 minutes of, and you can't remember a single thing that they said. It's not your attention span. It's not the ADHD. It's whether or not the person talking had anything real behind their words. Massive imperfect action beats perfect research every single time. Use what you have till what you have pays for what you want. That's what I'm always preaching. That's how I've built everything that I've built. Not by consuming, by doing. So the question becomes, how do you figure out who's actually lived the experience and who's just performing? Because on the surface, they look exactly the same. Good camera, good lighting, like I said, good audio, confident delivery. Anybody can buy this stuff, guys. Side note, if you want me to do a studio tour and break down what I use to shoot these videos, all my gear, the stuff I nerd out about behind the scenes, let me know in the comments below. A lot of people have been asking about my setup, and I think it'd be a lot of fun to shoot that video, but only if you guys want to see that. All right, now this is the part that I actually enjoy, because once you know what you're looking for, you could spot a fake in about 10 or 15 seconds. So go to their channel, ignore the subscriber count, ignore the thumbnails, ignore how professional everything looks, and ask one question. What did this person build before they started teaching people how to build things? That's it. But Adam, why does that matter? You're just being a hater. Well, let me tell you, somebody who used YouTube to grow a real business in a real industry is going to teach you a lot differently than somebody whose only business has ever been teaching YouTube. Somebody who's been on the platform for 10 or 15 years and survived every algorithm change is going to see things a lot differently than somebody who just started a year or two and is already selling a course. So a couple of months ago, someone reached out to me and they said, Adam, I'm talking to you, but I'm also talking to another creator about getting help with my channel. Who should I choose? Now, I know exactly who they were talking about. They were pretty transparent about that, and it happens more than you would think. There's a ton of people with a ton of options, right? So I didn't pitch myself. I didn't trash the other person. I simply told this person to go find the channel that this person grew before they started teaching YouTube growth. They came back a day or two later, exactly how I knew they would. And they said, I couldn't find one. Shocking, right? That was the whole conversation. No pitch needed. Either you have the receipts or you don't have the receipts. Simple as that. Now, I want to be fair here because there are people in the space who are newer, but doing it the right way, in my opinion. They're not pretending to be experts. They're documenting their journey and sharing what they find along the way as they go. And I respect that. The problem isn't being new. It's never been being new. It's being new and then pretending like you're not. Packaging yourself as this established authority when your only authority is watching somebody else's video last week and rewriting it in AI. And I know a lot of you guys have been through this. You followed somebody's advice, it didn't work, or worse, maybe it even hurt your channel. I want you guys to tell me about those stories in the comments. I do read all of the comments, try to respond to every single one, but I want to hear about what happened to you, what you've experienced. Because I think a lot of people watching this right now are going to realize they're not the only ones. All right, come here. I need to talk to some of you guys directly right now. Just me and you talking, and this comes from a place of love and a place of trying to be helpful, not frustration. There's a mindset that kills 100% of the YouTube channels before they ever get off the ground. It's the number one thing that I see time and time again from channels that never find success. It has nothing to do with the algorithm changes, has nothing to do with your niche, has nothing to do with how you look, your equipment, your camera, your lighting, your microphone, any of that. It's the belief that everybody who's successful, everybody who's trying to teach you something, even outside of the space, is somehow running a scam. And you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Somebody will recommend a tool in a video that they actually use. They'll show a demo that shows that they're competent in it. Oh, they have to use this, otherwise they wouldn't know how to do this. And the comments will say, so this is just an ad? Or somebody has a paid offer or paid program and suddenly they're a grifter. They were awesome before they had anything you could pay for, but now they have something you could pay for. Oh no, fake guru, run for the hills. Email CoffeeZilla. Somebody might have a sponsor of the video, and you instantly mentally write the whole video off, if not leave a snarky comment. And I get where it comes from. All these fakers, these fake gurus, they built that distrust. When you've been burnt by people who have had no business teaching anything, your guard goes up, and that makes total sense. But that cynicism is not protecting you, even though you think it is. It's keeping you stuck because you've stopped being able to tell the difference between somebody who's actually built something real and also has a business and somebody who built nothing and is scamming people. You've lumped them all together. And by doing that, you cut yourself off from people that could actually help you move forward. And I know a lot of you guys want to go full-time on YouTube. You want your channel to make real money. You want this to be your career. Great. I respect that. But you can't make money on YouTube while also believing that anybody who makes money on YouTube is a fraud. Those two things can't live in the same brain. If your goal is to build a successful channel, then seeing somebody else who's actually done that should be proof that it's possible, should be exciting, should be something that you could feel good about. not just evidence to you that they're somehow a con artist. And I've seen this so many times in my 15 plus years on YouTube. I'm a recovering cynic myself, so I understand. But the people that make it on this platform don't spend time tearing other creators in the comments sections and writing snarky, you scam, or, oh, this is sponsored, or whatever that I used as an example a minute ago. They don't assume the worst about everybody. They study what works. They apply it. They focus on their own channel. They let the results do the talking. The ones who stay stuck do the opposite. They argue, and Lord knows I've been pulled into these arguments in my younger years. They treat their own cynicism like it's wisdom. And they believe that. And they use it as a reason to never fully commit to anything. So if any of that hit a nerve, I would take that as a very good sign. There's still hope for you, and I appreciate you making it this far in the video, because creators who actually make it on this platform are the ones that are willing to check themselves. They get out of the way of their own ego. They look at themselves in the mirror. They audit themselves. They know they're not perfect, and there's always room for growth. Not just pointing the fingers at everybody else. That's the easy way out. You can decide today if you're done being a spectator, just a consumer, a cynic, a skeptic, a critic, that you're going to judge advice whether or not it works when you apply it. Crazy concept, right? Not by whether or not the person who gave you is also running a business or has a sponsor. It's insane to me. That's not just the mindset shift here, guys. That's the difference between somebody who's building a channel and somebody who's just talking about building a channel. The information was never the bottleneck. It never was. The bottleneck is the perspective. And you only get perspective by doing the work, not watching somebody talk about the work. You don't get good at golfing by watching videos about golfing. You got to pick up the club. You got to go and swing the club. And if you're the type that isn't afraid to put in the work, and you're ready to go all in on your channel and finally get it into momentum, watch this video next. And if you haven't yet, click that little subscribe button to join the channel family here. Let me know in the comments below what you've been struggling with so I can make a video to address that in the future. And until next time, I appreciate you watching.